Okay, let's talk about Kaizer Chiefs players and their performance against Mamelodi Sundowns. Let's look at each individual, give them their flowers or take their flowers from them. But before we even talk about that, we made it. 50,000 subscribers. Started this in February of 2022. I thought, hey, no one is making content about Chiefs and talking about Chiefs and stuff. Let me do it. Let's see if it works. And then it worked. So guys, if you have a dream or you see an opportunity, go for it. See? Motivational speaker. Danko, let's go to 100,000 subscribers. And also, you guys can tell me what type of content you want to see going forward, because there are a lot of things that I want to be doing on this channel, and there is going to be a shift. I've noticed that people don't watch the analysis videos here that much, so I'm going to take those videos that side to the Cutback with Tumpilo, and there's a link to the Cutback with Tumpilo, so you can go subscribe to the channel, because that one will be specifically about analyzing Chiefs, Pirates and Sundowns, so that it's more localist like type of content. And I'll be posting the analysis of the Sundowns Chiefs game tomorrow, because now it's too late. I just came back from training. So let's start with the Prusip Vuma in goal and how he performed. So Vuma, we have to talk about the good things that he did first, because we don't want to be negative Nancy's, right? So for starters, Vuma had a save that he made earlier on in the game where like the ball was passed to Reyners, and then Vuma made himself big and he made a good save. So that's good. We need to give him flowers for that, because when keepers are called to action, they should be able to do the right things. And also, you will see when I do the analysis video, which I'm working on right now, he is getting better with regards to his accuracy, even though he kicks the ball, but it looks like there's actually a bit more intention when it comes to that. Let me do this. There we go. So it looks like he's getting a little bit better with that. So that's good, number 2. And number 3, yeah, there's no number 3, because this is where we start talking about the things that are not that great. Because right now, the problem that we all have with Bruce is that the free kick was a very well taken free kick. And probably he was blocked, so he couldn't see what was happening in front of him. But the ball was where he was standing, and he dived. I don't know why he was diving, because the ball was literally there. But then again, it's Tebogo Mokoena, one of the best free kick takers, if not the best free kick taker in South African football right now. So I will give him a benefit of the doubt, but still I am not convinced. So I just hope that he improves on the good things that he's continuing to do, because clearly there are good abilities about Prusip Vuma as a goalkeeper. Which brings us to Dylan Solomon. So Dylan Solomons, some people will just remember the fact that, hey, he's the one who considered a free kick that led to a goal. Yet Solomons was the one who was required to make the run throughout the right side, because if you noticed, Ulilep was not playing as a winger yesterday, especially when we were pressing, but it was more of a double 9 with Uduba. So on the right hand side, it was just Solomons going up and down, and we're going to talk about the other player was actually helping him on the right hand side. So if I was rating Vuma, I would give him maybe, let's just say 6.5. And then Solomon's, guys, I think that if you exclude that panic tackle, his game was just clean throughout. So Solomon's, I'd give him actually a 7.5. I think should be fair, 8. And then that brings us to Fanagazana Low, giving him Simango. Giving him Simango looked so assured in that game against Sundowns. He looked confident, he looked strong, and that's something that we've been asking Giving Simango to show us. Is he a capable footballer? Sure. Is he good with playing the ball with his feet? Sure. Can he defend? Sure. And did he do it against Sundowns? Absolutely. That's the Giving Simango want to see. An assured and confident player who we know, that's the player who signed from TS Galaxy. So shout out to him. And stopping Ushalulile, and the way he was organizing the backline as well, the amount of times Sundowns were offside, that proved to me that those guys were communicating much better than what you've actually been seeing with Inacio together with Udot. I'm not saying these ones are better than them. I'm just saying they did better than them. So you decide what you want to decide. Which then brings us to Dove. Dove, solid once again. Dove is that player who still has a few mistakes in him, right? A few mistakes in him, and he makes them here and there. But if you want a player who will go out and die for you on that pitch, Dove is that player. If you want a player who's going to commit in a 50-50, Dove is your player. If you want a player who's going to commit in a ball that he thinks he can't get, but it would be risky to get it and probably get injured, Dove is that player. So a player who plays with his heart on his sleeves, he's like always fighting for everything. That man is a fighter, and that's what makes me appreciate Dove. And that's the thing that makes me look at the shortcomings that he has and think, you know what, he's a person. Obviously, this is football. Obviously, he's going to make some mistakes. But the overall performance of Edmilson Dove and giving him Simango, I would give both of them an 8.5 because they were performing really well. Which brings us to Bradley Cross. You know what? I need to correct myself and do the right thing. I need to do the right thing. Bradley Cross, I was wrong. I was wrong about Bradley Cross. I said his low confidence will make Mamelodi Sundowns target him, and he might just be a place where they find joy. Did they find joy? They didn't, because Cross was there. He was so tight on Ribeiro. Every time Ribeiro tried to get the ball, he did not let him turn. He did not let him trap the ball comfortably. He pushed back to a point that Sundowns were not even passing Ribeiro, because every time I was getting the ball, there was Cross. And that confidence, that because one of the things that has been a problem with Cross is that he would be late and then he ends up making tackles and he's panicking. But he didn't do that. He didn't do that. He was there every time. Like, it made me go, wow. Because at the end of the game, I also saw he just was so emotional. I saw him because he was right here. I was sitting on that side of the stadium. And when the match ended, he just took his jersey and put it on his eye. I think he was crying. So shout out to Bradley Cross. Shout out to Bradley Cross. That's the kind of mentality we need. Because one thing I've also said, and I think I said it to Vuyo yesterday, I will tell you on the comments if he's here, Uguti, one thing I said about Cross is that he has the basics. He knows how to trap the ball. He knows how to look around. He knows how to head the ball. He knows all of those things. The problem has just been his confidence, not the ability. So shout out to Bradley Cross once again. Performance yake, he marked Ribeiro, dangerous person. I'll give him a 9. I will give him a 9, an easy 9. He did his job and he stayed in his position and he did what he was supposed to do. I'm giving him a 9 especially because of the fact that what I was expecting from here was this, and he gave us this. So he exceeded most people's expectations. When the starting 11 came out, a lot of people were like, guys, are you sure this is the starting 11? I was fine with most of the starting 11 and I was scared for him. But he's the one who was like up there. So yeah, if you're enjoying the video, before we talk about the midfielders and the forwards, let me know on the do subscribe to the channel and help us to get 200,000. Or should we start by 60,000? Okay, 60,000. Yeah, right. Okay, now let's talk about Thabo Cele. So Thabo Cele was not even supposed to play in that game. And I'm glad the Chiefs won, because I know in the comments, if we had lost that game, people would have commented, why did he take Cele off? He was injured. And he was starting to, the injury was, what's the word? It was getting worse because he went down and you saw Guti was crying, but they were like, listen here, we'll give you painkillers. You're going to continue playing. And he tried to play and he played this game, but there was that thing, Guti, you could see Guti, this guy, he's forcing himself to play, but he still played. And there is passion. You know, this word, passion, heart, dedication. At the end of the game, you saw him, he was tearful and emotional. It's all of these things that define a player that we want to see at Kaizer Chiefs. And Thabo Cele is exactly that. And now, selfish me is thinking, I don't want him to go back abroad. I know he's good enough to go back. I just don't want him, because you can see ukuthi lo mchita lo uyayithanda Chiefs. Lo mchita lo uyafuna ukufela abalandeli. He wants to do everything to please us. So, yeah, Thabo Cele. I'm going to give him a 9 as well. And then there's Yusuf Mart. Who some of you were ready if we lost to just blame everything on him. But as I said earlier on, since Ulilep was playing more as a striker, because Chiefs were trying to block balls into the middle, the person who had to cover Solomons, because Solomons was going up, the person who was covering him, there was the ball that I think the ball was lost by Udove, if not to Sereno. And then he recovered. I was watching that thing on the clip. Yes, yes. He was there with the block. I'm like, yes, yes. And the countless other times when he was just running up and down and blocking everything basically. Yes, he had his mistakes obviously on the ball where he there was a time he tried to turn, they won the ball back and obviously people were on him. But his performance, his leadership in the team, brilliant. I'm gonna give him an 8.5, which then brings us to the 10, Gaston Sereno. Gaston Sereno, one good and the biggest thing about him, the tracking back, the marking. And I know his fuse is short and there was a time where it was getting exposed, but he didn't explode like we've seen him do before. He did get a yellow card eventually, and that was one of the reasons why he was taken off. And he does hang on to a ball a bit more, but that you could also blame on who's supporting him and all of those things. But there were times where he could have passed the ball, but he didn't pass the ball. So I think that Sereno really gave us a solid performance when it comes to helping us mark. There was a time for like 10 minutes where he was just man marking Umkwena the whole time, which is good because that tells you that he's disciplined. He doesn't look at himself as I'm the star of this team, but he actually sees himself as part of the team. Love that. So I'm going to give him a 7.5, which then brings us to the left winger, which was Upule Modi. Yes, sis. Pule Modi bafethu. Pule Modi, guys. Because, I will talk about this in the end. He was doing the same thing that we did in the previous games, which was come next to Cross and become a back five, because it's the 4 defenders plus Upule Modi tracking back to be the 5th, so that if Umdao comes up, he's ready, so that it's not a 2v1 against Cross. It's 2v1 of Umdao versus, who's the other one, versus Uripero. Umdao no Ripero versus Ukross, but he was tracking back to make sure that the numbers were numbering, right? So he performed really well, and that's another 8.5 performance right there. Which then brings us to Uklodi Lilepo. Ulilepo tried, but it's just not his game, Uglokunj. It's not his game to defend as much and be as disciplined and do everything that you are required to do, which is to go out and press, by the way, because when Utuba moved back central, you saw the difference in the intensity of the press between the intensity that Ulilep was giving and the one that Utuba was giving, because immediately the new scored. But we also have to talk about the fact that his hold-up play was better. He's always that player who's just brilliant, right, in terms of holding up the ball and not panicking to try and rush all the time. So that was very good, but unfortunately his game was 6.5. It wasn't like great. I'm leaving Utuba for now because I think that Utuba gave us a 10 out of 10 performance. Tuba gave us a 10 out of 10 performance. Loyafana Loya, same class as Usirin. Loyafana Loya, he's in the same class as Utabo Cel in terms of mentality, because the same way that Ucele believes and wants Chiefs to succeed, that one Utuba, it's not even belief, it's knowing. Like he's so fearless. Did you see that he scored a goal against Mamelodi Sundowns after pressing them? He scores a goal, he doesn't go to the corner to celebrate. Instead, he picks it up, he goes back. Utinanti Paul, seeing like you like Bulunganele, Ibasabo Mkwena, Ibasabo Repero, Ibasabi, Aganandaba. What they might lose the final, they might not lose the final. I want them to win the final, because Utuba Uteni, so Negez Netbank, and Nuklara Wakiga Kombi Sugut, Ufunugu Negez Netbank. Agangeni veleng indaba ukuthi, oh no, we will try our best. Tuba is not saying we will try our best. Tuba is saying we are doing it. And his actions when he's out there are proving that he means what he's saying. And he says what he means. And he's such a young kid. And some people say, oh, this kid must be trained to talk properly to the media. No, he mustn't. Let him speak his mind and not be a robot. Because at least when I hear Duba speak, I know that he means it. When he says Nina Nkuluma PS, he means Nkulumi PS. Maiti mina ngifuna ukunwinela iTelkom iNedbank Cup, he means ngizonwinela iNedbank Cup. You understand? And we promise it, right? And people are like, oh no, you shouldn't promise people things that you are not sure you'll fulfill. He is then trying to do exactly what he promised by going out there and performing each and every week. 11 out of 10. It's not even 10 out of 10. Duba, clean. Which then brings us to Unabi, because we have to talk about Nabi before we talk about the subs. His subs were on time. His subs were correct. His tactics have been spot on against Sundowns. It's the execution that has been beating us in all these games, because first game defended in a 5-3-2 with Duba doing the thing that Modi has been doing in the past 3 games. Same thing all along, same thing. Only difference is execution. And this time around, we scored. The finish that Duba made is the chance that Dupree missed in that game that we played at FNP. So the chances we've been getting, we've just not been finishing. And against Sundowns, the 2 clear-cut chances that we got in the cup are the ones that we scored. And even if Dupree comes in, he's in that position, he scores. And I remember FNP, not a FNP, there was a cross. It was Lucas Moripe 2 years or 3 years back. It was 2 years back. It was a cross by Potsane. Dupree made the same run, and then that time I think he finished with his right foot, and this time he finished with his left foot. So that's very good. That's very good to go out. We execute the things that we want to do, because that has been the complaint that we've had. Oh no, these guys are just not scoring. So shout out to Dupree. He didn't play that long, but still he scored the all-important goal. We benefited, I know, but you had to be in the right position to even benefit. So I'll also give him a 7.5. Mtusha Balala came on, he did the things, provided energy, provided some switch off the ball, which is something that I saw was working a lot. We play the ball to the left, Sundowns moves, and then we switch the ball, and then Umtu came on, did that. He came on, he added energy. Clean game, 7.5. That brings us to Matlo Naye, who, by the way, the coach brought him on together with Umtetwa, because Ucele had gone out and Ucele was winning the ball, but at the same time he's a ball player. So when the coach brings on Umtetwa, he does not just bring him on alone, he brings him on with Umatlo to compensate for, you know, what Umtetwa lacks in, which is the ball playing capabilities. And then they just did the job. Fagistatul Umtetwa, which I'm going to give him a 7 for. Same thing with Umatlo, I'm going to give him a 7. Unabi, yeah, now he should get his own, you know what, 10 out of 10. Because he read the game. 11 out of 10. He read the game and he knew that he wasn't going to need to change much. It's just the execution. And also, what is very important about Unabi and how he won the game against Sundowns is the fact that he had confidence in his own players. He trusted them that they will go out and do the job, and they went out and they did the job. That's how you win the dressing room. That's how you win the fan base. Now Kaizer Chiefs are going to play in the CAF Confederations Cup next year, because we know Pirates have already qualified for the Champions League. Well, not already qualified, but I don't think anyone will take them off number 2. You know, they might even win the league. They won't, but they will end up being second, which means the Chiefs are now going to qualify for the CAF Confederations Cup, because they are now in the finals of the Nedbank Cup. Whether they win the Nedbank Cup or not, they've qualified. So we're playing in Africa next year. Shout out to Nabi. We're playing in Africa. Shout out to Nabi. Shout out to Nabi. Guys, thoughts on that game? Let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember, equals 50,000 subscribers. Let's go to 100.